I'm going to turn on my yellow and just use this box right here to demonstrate how I would make rounded portions, so fillets, which you will need to do. I'm going to replicate my object right now in white. Whoops. So I'm just going to, you know what? I'm just going to, no, I want to keep that yellow box, sorry. I'm thinking on the fly here. I'm going to draw a cube, and my goal is going to be to round all the corners of this cube. So maybe it just looks like a a six-sided die or something with rounded corners instead of sharp corners. Okay, so I'm just going to trace all these in white. Okay, everything behind there is going to be hidden. I may decide to draw some construction lines back here to help me, but I'm not sure if I need them yet. Okay, so let's look. Now we're going to be rounding corners. Okay, so now we're going to be rounding corners. These are 100. I'm just picking randomly. I'm going to put a 20 radius fillet. Your fillets are going to be in radii because they are not full circles. So that is an important distinction. So I'm going to go 20R fillets because that's the way you would see them on the drawing. Okay? Or, sometimes they're called rounds. Fillets is the proper term. And I'll just put 10. See how big that lettering is. Okay, so I'm just writing this to demonstrate that this is going to be a 20 radius fillet. Okay, so let's get to work here. We know we're going to need isometric circles. I also know I'm going to need, instead of just the top one, I'm going to need these two as well. So I'm going to go to my blocks. I'm going to bring out this isometric circle. So I'm going to insert here. Okay, I'm going to insert that there. And then I'm also going to make a couple copies and rotate them because I know I'm going to need them. So I'm going to CO copy from the center of this object down. One there, one there. Okay, then I'm going to rotate these two to make sure that they are in the right orientation. And so this one I want to be like that. So that's going to represent this face, right? And then this one, RO, is going to be like that. 40, good. And this one's going to represent that face. So I've got top, left face, right face. And I'm going to need them all for this because I'm rounding every single edge. All right, now how do we do fillets? Fillets are actually a little easier than scaling for circles. There's a couple of little tricks you can do. Whenever you're filleting a corner, what you want to do is you want to look at what the radius of the fillet is supposed to be. And you want to make a center point somewhere about here that you're going to use for your fillet. You cannot use the fillet tool. So in Modify, we've been using the fillet tool. You cannot use that for isometrics. That only works in orthographics. It'll fillet it, but it will not be the correct fillet. Okay? So make sure that you're using isometric circles or ellipses. So our 20R fillets, let's draw some of these guidelines to help us out. I'll do them in light blue. Actually, I'll do them in purple, really easy to see. So I'm just going to go to my draw tool. If it's 20R fillet, that means from each corner, you just go along the line 20. Okay? And then, this is easy because it's just at a 30-degree angle. And then 20 back this way. That will give you the center point for this particular fillet. And you can do that at every corner. So that is 20, 20 this way. Just making sure that you're on those 30-degree angles. Okay. And now that I've done this a couple times, one more maybe. Do this one, 20 this way. Get that corner right there, 20. Okay. And after you've done a couple, you can start copying them down and whatnot. I can actually copy this one. CO from this corner. And, no, actually, it doesn't help me. I don't know what I was thinking there. So that line. Just look at the other ones. 20 and 20. All right. Now that I have drawn one on every corner, I can actually hold down Shift key, click, 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 grab them all at This will save you time. Grab them all. Because they're going to match up at the bottom, right? So grab these. Then I'll just copy them. CO. And just make sure you grab a good point. That corner will be nice. And then copy them straight down. And then you got the bottom ones as well, right? So the end of those purple lines represent where that round is going to start. It's going to start here, and it's going to end up in the same spot over there. Okay, now how do we do this? I believe you could still do it the easy way with copy and just dragging. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take my isometric circle, and instead of scaling it, okay, I'm going to just take that center point, and I'm going to copy it. Sorry, I'm going to copy it from the center, and I'm going to place that here. Okay, way too big, right? Clearly way too big. Okay, now here's how we can make a shortcut though. If I grab my circle and now I scale it, so SC scale, I can scale it from this point, and then look what happens when I go out to, okay, now what was this supposed to be 20, right? So oh, maybe it won't. I was really hoping it would snap there, so I guess it's not perfect. Yeah. Because really I need it, where I need it is right there, but you can't ever guess, right? You can never guess when you're doing drafting. Okay. Oh, that looks like it's touching, but when you zoom in, it won't be touching. It'll be close, but it'll still be a little gap in there, and you can get closer and closer and closer, but really you're still just guessing. So, but luckily enough, I do know exactly what the radius of this is. The radius of this is 20. So from that center point, you still need that center point. So you still need to draw those purple lines. However, from that center point, okay, I need to scale this version. The original was, I got to guess now, was the original 100 in diameter or 100 in radius? I believe it was 100 in radius. Let me just measure it quick. From the center point of this, it needs to be 100 in any 30-degree angle. It is 100. So this needs to be 20. So 20% of 100, right? 0.2. So I'll grab this, I'll scale it after it's already in place, and then I'll just got to make sure that I'm at a 30-degree angle, and then I need to type decimal 2 because that's 20%. Okay, so decimal 2, there we go, and look, perfect. Okay. Once you've got that one, because all of the rounds are, and all the fillets are 20, you don't need to actually make any more because you can just take this and go copy, and then copy it there. Look at that. It's going to work. Anything that's got that top face is going to work perfectly. As long as you've got the center points. There you go. And you can do the bottom too. Will match up perfectly with any of these corners. Now I didn't draw the back one because that's hidden, but I do have it up top there. Okay, so that's great. Now that will give us the round for this section. Let's just say that I'm not going to do this round. No, let's do that round too. Okay, so that's this round then, right? But the same principle applies. It's 20. So if I'm going to draw the lines for, let's say, this face, okay, same principle. I need to go down 20 along that vertical line or horizontal or this line. It doesn't matter. I can go to there because I've already got that point. I know this intersection right here is 20 in already, so I just need to go down 20. Okay, and then I can copy that. CO, because that's going to be the exact same as this corner. Right? It should match up with that box down there. And then I'll just copy it from the bottom here. CO from the bottom this time because I needed to go up 20 from here. There we go. And up 20 from here. Okay, so let's take a look at this left face. Okay, that would be this isometric circle, exact same process. So let's make a copy of it. So CO. Okay, CO. I'm going to put it there. Okay, now I know I need to scale this to 20%, so I'm going to select that. Scale it, SC. Where do I want to scale it from? I want to scale it from the center. And how big do I want to make it? Decimal 2. 20% is big. Okay, so now we've got the one that sits on this side. Now I can copy that one. So copy to there, and to there, and to there. Okay, now I've got the places that I'm going to round here, and we might as well do this last face while we're at it. So once again, 20. 20. Well, I know it's where this circle hits, so I can just find that intersection point. Go up 20. It's going to be in the exact same spot as this one right there. And then this one needs to go down 20, and then I should have all the circles. Okay, it looks a little weird right now, but it'll make sense in a second. Okay, so now I've got to grab the one that fits on this right face. So copy that, CO, grab it from the middle, put it on any one of these midpoints, yeah, center midpoints, isometric center midpoints. Grab it, scale it, SC, scale it from the center, and then it was 0.2, make it 20% of the size that it started at. And then once you've done that, you can go copy. And paste, paste, paste. Okay, so it looks wonky, but all our circles are actually in the right place, and we can start trimming. So what do we trim? Well, these corners are going to disappear because this object is rounded, right? So what we need to do is we need to make liberal use of our trim tool now. This is inside the object. We don't need anything there. That's gone. Oh, forgot one important thing that I should have done at the beginning before I started copying. It's not going to hurt us too much. I just need to grab every single circle that I drew, holding down the shift key. If you do this with the very first one before you copy it, then you don't have to do this step. And the mistake I made is I forgot to explode them, so I can't trim anything until I explode all of these blocks. So now I've got them all selected, go down to my explode tool. Now they're all exploded. Oh, it says we're not able to explode. That's weird. But that looks exploded to me. I might have accidentally grabbed a line that you can't explode, but it looks like all of these have been exploded. You can tell because now they've got a center and they've also got these 4 marks on the circumference. Okay, so let's make liberal use of that trim tool. What are we trimming? Anything that looks like it's not going to be part of the object. So that's got to go, that's got to go, that's got to go, that's got to go. Okay, but you're leaving the rounded sections, right? So what it's doing is it's trimming every part that it sees between where it intersects here and where it intersects there, which is good. That's what we want. So I want to get rid of those 2. And we want to get rid of these, all those, this. Don't need any of these lines anymore. Okay, so just this part right here, it looks a bit weird as a shape, but you just got to imagine that it was a corner, and maybe you just took sandpaper, or you took this and took it to a belt sander and just sanded off the corner. It would have sort of that rounded shape in more than one direction. Okay, so the last thing we have to do on this is we got to kind of fill in these corners here because it just looks like it looks weird. It looks like there's a piece of plywood standing up there, and then another one on the top, and then there's a gap of air, but there isn't. So when you're filling in gaps on objects that kind of look like this, what you might want to do is just grab a corner that you know is perfect, it has perfect isometric measurement, and then just bring it back up there, and it'll perfectly fill that gap and be mathematically accurate. So if I copy this existing curve, just make sure you take the right curve from the right face, because remember, we're looking at what would the back face curve look like, the one that's hidden. It's going to be the same angle as this one, right? So let's take this, and if there were a back to this object, you can just see the very corner of it, and once you get it to that same point, I mean, this is just the vertical point from the center, right? Straight up, and then right there, then you can see that is the very back corner, and then the gap is where it's been sanded off, and then you got to do the same thing with this one right here, and you just got to grab the opposing curve, copy that, and bring that back. now you have an isometric representation of, say a die or something like that. I could put 3 isometric circles. It could be the 3 of the die, and also all the corners around it. And these ones are sort of double rounded because they're rounded on the top section and they're rounded on the bottom. Just a quick idea of what that might look like if you didn't do these top rounds. If you just wanted it rounded, say on 2 faces, on the top and the bottom, then it would look a little different. It would look something like this. Just get rid of these ones. I've just basically got to fix the corners. You'll see what I'm getting at here pretty quickly. Okay, so this would be the rounded edge, okay, and rounded edge, and then this one, rounded edge as well. So basically we want a shape like this, sort of rounded only on the top face, and then these other 2 faces aren't going to be rounded. Okay, now all I'm going to do is join up the lines. When you are representing a rounded corner, or filleted corner, this is where you're going to use an angle. So you go from the center point of that round, okay, and then it is 30 degrees, so 150, right, 180 minus 30, to there, and then straight down. Okay. And so you're going to see the same thing from here. Okay, so you've got that same 30-degree angle, and then right down to where you hit the ground, should be vertical. Okay. And that just sort of accentuates for the user that is actually a curved section. It looks a little weird if you don't include these lines. Okay, and then this would be the same process. Looks a little different you'll notice that the actual bend of these ones is different than the bends of these ones, the one that's top and the bottom. And that's just part of the way isometrics work. They look different based on different perspectives, but here we do the same thing. Okay, so we're going to take our 150. Nope, that's a lie. We are going to go straight out on this one. Yeah, sorry, straight out on those smaller ones, and then straight down. And what it's going to do is it's going to match up with, I deleted that corner for some reason. I'm not sure why. But when I grab this isometric, and I copy it down, it'll be back where it was before. Just copy it straight down. And that was, 100? My depth, or my height of my object was 100. There we go. So that's where it was. Just trim this line. And you'll know when you get it. It'll just look right. Boom. Okay, now, obviously, this little area would be on the inside of the object now, so you got to trim that guy out. Okay, that's what you can see from the outside. This needs to be trimmed as well. Okay. And now I can do the same thing on the other side, but because the shapes are all the same, they're just basically the opposite direction. This might be a handy place to use that mirror tool. So I'm just going to go grab these lines. And then I'm going to MI for mirror, and I'm going to draw a line right dead center. That's where I'm going to mirror around, and look at that. And everything should line up perfectly in here. So it does. And now you kind of get the idea, right? Like this is, maybe an ottoman or a tabletop or something like that. It's got filleted on the top, but it still goes straight down. Like there's no corners or sanded off or anything. And again, I normally include those 2 lines, those 2 verticals, because I just think it looks a little bit weird when you don't have them. Okay, it's not bad, it's not wrong, but I just think it gives the viewer a slightly better curved impression of this thing when you have those. But that one's sort of up to personal preference. I'm okay if you leave those off. But do make sure that the lines on the outside, that these are lined up appropriately. That is a big deal. Okay, there you go. So you should have enough information to do anything with a circle, a round, a fillet, a countersink, a counterbore in isometric. If you've got any questions, please let me know.